There's a funny book by Reid Hoffman called Blitzscaling, and it basically says growth matters at all costs. I think the lesson from this is there are limits to that.
What is the benefit of blitzscaling a real estate business? Not sure there is one.
Tech San Francisco Twitter was blowing up about having to explain what a tech company is because they've gotten burned by WeWork. And we were saying, hey, I think, the Bill Gurleys, the Fred Wilsons, the Benedict Evans of the world are kind of throwing shade at some of the later investors in WeWork because they're explaining, how to value 10x multiples and what look at the business model. Don't look if it's a tech company, kind of pretty basic investment 101 kind of stuff. And so you're saying, well, SoftBank definitely took a haircut on WeWork. And are these guys, if you're SoftBank and Benchmark invested early on in WeWork, and then Bill Gurley's explaining what to look for if the valuation is correct, and you've put billions of dollars into WeWork, you're probably not going to be too happy reading those tweets. So another tweet today, I love this guy, Modest Proposal. And so there's a little bit here basically confirming that it wasn't just Adam Neumann's fault. It was actually SoftBank's fault. And they're actually specifically calling out Masayoshi-san, and who's running the SoftBank funds and that whole initiative. So just to read you a little tidbit here, they're explicitly blaming WeWork's investor, particularly Masayoshi-san's SoftBank group, for the company's problems. Neumann had always been obstinate, and his company was aggressive and a bit undisciplined. But its business had been on a more sustainable path until Sun and SoftBank showed up in 2017 and told Neumann to make WeWork 10 times bigger than your original plan. That's in quotes. That being crazy is better than being smart, and that WeWork wasn't being, quote, crazy enough, end quote. They're trying to make this all about Adam is a lunatic. This is now conjecture on what's happening today. But these people invested, they knew the terms, they knew about the governance issues, and they told this guy, be you, but be 10 times you. What did they expect? Okay. So this kind of sheds some more insight here. So what's really going on? And I think some of yesterday's Twitter, hullabaloo, it was subtly, kind of indirectly, it's all going back to the SoftBank, some of these large Chinese funds that came in later on in WeWork's rounds to give them billions of dollars and say, go, just really burn through cash and don't worry about the economics. And there's a funny book by Reid Hoffman called Blitzscaling. And it basically says growth matters at all costs. You can screw up every other part of running a business. You can be a bad manager. You can have a horrible culture. You can have basically everything in your company can be really bad, including your P&L. But if you have a lot of growth, everything else will get figured out. And I think the lesson from this is there are limits to that.
Well, I think Reid says this in the Blitzscaling book. Blitzscaling is not for every company.
It doesn't last forever.
There needs to be strong rationale to blitzscale. It should be a constrained period of time to help you get to a destination you want to get to. And that growth and the need to scale quickly should be a key factor in your ability to be successful. So businesses,
and a lot of what his blitzscaling focuses on,
yes,
are platforms,
right?
Not linear businesses.
Right. So what is the benefit of blitzscaling a real estate business? Not sure there is one.
Right. Where is the compounding effect, that network effect that says, okay, well, if I only blitzscale from here to here, then I won't need to effectively do that anymore.
I think WeWork tried to sell a little bit of, we have all this data stuff and there's some kind of network effect
tech
there.
Services
I think typically when the only thing people are selling is data network effects, as they call it, which to me looks a lot like a supply side economy of scale, as opposed to a traditional cross-sided network effect that we see with platforms. I don't find that very compelling, and I don't find that particularly defensible or monetizable or valuable the way that a traditional kind of platform network effect is. So WeWork, I think, as we're saying here, basically blitzscaled to hell. Probably shouldn't have, and it's not entirely their fault because their investor was pushing them to do that. And one of the things that some of these VC guys have been saying for a long time, and some founders, is SoftBank money is a blessing and a curse, and you don't want your competitor to get it. But if you accept it, there are definitely strings attached to that.
Mhm.
You're giving up, some control in the direction of your company. Because if I have $100 billion fund, I got to find a way to make a return on that. And the only way I'm going to do that is put in, $5-10 billion and have a huge scale from there. It's tough to do.
Right. And then, instead of supporting the guy when everyone says, whoa, this doesn't make any sense, then it was also SoftBank that was the final nail in the coffin,
right.
to eject Adam as CEO and have him scale back his governance rights and all of these kinds of things. So
it was a lot of money, but it was kind of a Faustian bargain where you're giving some things up to get it.
Yep. So look, there's multiple sides to every story. I think as we peel back this WeWork onion, it just kind of gets a little bit more interesting every day as more information comes out. At the end of the day, though, Adam's going to be fine. Guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And maybe he kind of knew this whole thing would blow up, and that's why he was doing all this self-dealing under the table compared to the FanDuel founders who maybe have a couple $1 million. It's a lot of money, but compared to what
hundreds of millions of
dollars.
There was a lot of criticism that he'd cashed out early.
Yes.
And obviously didn't help with the IPO process to have all that self-dealing and things happening. But
again, what it really comes down to, as we spoke about before, is it's the employees that really got shafted in all this, right? At the end of the day, Adam, smart guy, clearly understands what's going on. He protected his own kingdom, personal kingdom, actually made his own personal fortune of a kingdom, and got, basically took the money from I don't want to call him the devil, but took the money that came with a lot of strings to kind of do things that probably didn't make sense in terms of how you'd actually want to grow the business. They thought they were being aggressive, and then they had to throw that out the window and go 10 times as fast. Okay. And then who loses when that doesn't work? It's the employees. Their options are all underwater. Now they have to do layoffs. All the employees that have been there for years thought that they were going to have liquidity finally with the shares.
Get a big payout.
Now there's no liquidity, and they're worth, 25%, 25 cents on the dollar. So, it's unfortunate. And there's a lot of good people that have worked there for a long time and just not going to pan out. So, I don't know, I just have a lot of skepticism when you see non-platform companies, linear companies trying to Blitzscale and Blitzscale at tremendous scale when they probably shouldn't need to be continuing to Blitzscale. Who else does that remind me of? Oh, Netflix. That's right. Hi, this is Alex Mozed. Thanks for joining us on Winner Take All. If you enjoyed the content today, which I bet you did, please comment, subscribe, and definitely message me on Twitter when we're doing live streams. Also, please note, all opinions expressed about stocks or public companies on the show are exactly that, opinions. This is not investment advice. Don't act on it. WisdomTree licensed Applico's Platform Insights data product to aid in the creation of the Platt ETF. Thanks for joining us.